Today on Co-op for Two, a spoiler-free roundup and ranking of all 8 Cryptic killer games. Are these games for you? Where should you start? And what one piece of advice is critical to having a good experience? Stay tuned to find out. As a reminder, I purchase all of the games we play on this channel myself, so if you want to see more unbiased content like this, I hope you'll subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I have played through all but one of these cases live on the channel. You could watch those and a spoiler-filled discussion of the games afterwards, but this video will be spoiler-free. So what are the Cryptic killer games? These are cold case document dump deduction games. They always involve a murder. You get an envelope with 25 to 35 documents in it, things like autopsy reports, newspaper clippings, surveillance photos, interview transcripts. And your job is to figure out who the murderer is and sort of how the murder was performed sometimes. Typically, that's done by being given a list of suspects in the beginning and eliminating all but one, typically using timeline alibis. They cost about $20 to $25 on Amazon, so they're on the affordable side of this kind of game. There are currently 8 of them as of the beginning of 2024. Typically, on the live stream playthroughs, it takes us 5 hours or so to play each of these, but probably will only take you an hour or 2 to play through. They're all rated at 14 and up, but there is minimal gore and adult material here, other than, of course, the murder. The hallmarks of the Cryptic killer games are high production quality. They're all very polished, very well play-tested, bug-free. They all have some quite clever documents, some real aha moments, and they reward careful study. There's always 1 or 2 moments of real satisfaction when you figure something out and things start to click into place. The solutions all feel well earned, complete, satisfying. The difficulty ratings of the games do feel accurate. There's a very good hint system online and a good solution when you finish. The dialogue and writing is quite good. They all have a little bit of a gimmicky internet component, a minimal internet component that does work. There are no real props in these games. There's very little fluff and multimedia content. It's a little bit of a minimalistic experience, but one of the most polished of the genre. I think it's useful to look through the contents of one of these boxes. If you are really paranoid about spoilers, you could use timestamps to jump over this section. I'm not going to show you anything that you wouldn't see as soon as you open the box of one of these cases, but I do think it helps to get an idea of sort of what the components look like. So we get a little bit of an introduction, then here we've got an envelope, some photos, a nice well-designed brochure that looks real, maps, various documents, newspaper, interviews, short autopsy report, some transcripts of text messages. Again, this is all stuff that's, at a quick glance, is not giving you anything you don't get when you read the very first page introduction to the case. So there you have it. You have some idea of what the documents look like. As I said, about 25 to 35 in each of these cases. Okay, so let's rank all 8 games. I'm going to break this into 3 tiers, starting with my least favorite 3. So at number 8, my least favorite of all of them is Murder of a Millionaire. This is rated at difficulty 3.5, and I just felt that this case was a little less satisfying, a little less believable than most of the others, and fairly thin on the narrative, although it does have quite a few documents to sort of chew into the background of these characters. In the end, I found this least satisfying. Number 7 on the list is Murder at a Movie Theater. I did think this was a little bit better. This is actually the easiest rated case of all of them, difficulty level 3. If you're a fan of horror movie genre, know your background of movies, you might even get a little bit extra from that one. And then at number 6, Murder at the Magic Mirror Casino. This one rated at difficulty 3.5. Maybe it should be rated a little higher. These 3 are all released in 2021, the first year of Cryptic Killers. I think they were still sort of getting their footing here. None of these are bad, although I didn't have a great experience with Murder of a Millionaire, but these are very subjective. Your mileage may vary. I would say, however, that if you were new to the genre completely, to these cold case games, I would recommend you start with Murder at the Movie Theater. If you like it and found it too easy, then you can start to move up to Murder at Magic Mirror Casino and to the next tier of games. Maybe save Murder of a Millionaire for last. Let me know if you disagree with me that that is the least successful of all of them. These are all fairly light on narrative, focused on mystery, but they have some of the core nice elements of these Cryptic Killer games that we're going to see elaborated on in the next tier. Okay, tier 2. These are 3 very solid games in the middle of the pack of the Cryptic Killers. You really can't go wrong with any of these. At number 5, I've got Murder of a Musician, difficulty 4.5. At number 4, Murder of a Marine Biologist, rated at difficulty level 4. And then ranking number 3 in my 8 is Murder at Metalluck Industries, difficulty 4.5. These are all, I think you could quibble about the 0.5 ratings. They're all reasonably in the same spectrum. They all show a little bit of polishing of the system, a little more narrative, a little more clever clues being hidden. They really all do reward thinking deeply about the clues until you really figure out the piece of the puzzle that makes it all make sense. These frequently have some really great aha moments where you find the one critical piece of the puzzle, and when you find it, you know it. Interestingly, these were all released in 2022, so the second year of Cryptic Killers. And I think if you have some experience with the cold case genre, this would be a good place to start with any of these. I really don't think the differences are so great. I think maybe you could pick one of these based on the theme. If you like music, if you like science and marine biology, if you like sort of corporate espionage, that would be a reasonable way to pick which game to play. And finally, Tier 1, my favorite 2 games of the series. At number 2 is Murder in Miami. And at number 1 is Murder at Merivale Manor. These are both released in 2023, and to me, these show Cryptic Killers really coming into their groove with writing narrative in addition to the mystery, deduction, and clues, especially Murder at Merivale Manor. This really hit a sweet spot for us. There's a lot more reading in this one and a lot more background story narrative than in the other games. This one really stands out. Now, whether that sounds like what you want or not is going to depend on your group. Do you really enjoy reading and getting into the characters and the history so that you care about them more? Then that's the way to go. Murder in Miami has a bunch more of that, but maybe not quite at the level of Murder in Merivale Manor. I think if you're really experienced with this genre and you like extra narrative, you like spending time reading about the characters, then Murder at Merivale Manor is the way to go. If you're not so experienced or not sure if that's for you, do not jump right into this. This is sort of jumping into the deep end. But I don't think Murder in Miami is that much more difficult than the Tier 2 games. You really can't go wrong, though, with either of these when you're ready. As my final thoughts, I'm going to give you a few pieces of advice that I think would hold you in good stead when playing these games. First of all, if you're new to this genre, start at the easier games. I've listed 3 in the middle of the pack that would be good, but maybe start with one of the 3 easiest games if you're completely new to this genre. Do take your time. Enjoy the atmosphere. If you're playing with a group, discuss and debate often the theories, take breaks, talk about what your theories of the case are. You will, in all of these games, they are all so solid and clean that you really will be able to eliminate every suspect based on some hard evidence. If you find yourself sort of running out of steam, getting to the end, and not being able to clearly eliminate 1 or 2 suspects, pause, take a break, come back to it. These are very polished games. There are ways, sometimes quite subtle, to eliminate all of the innocent suspects. So stick with it, you will get it. And I would say, more than most games in this genre, in Cryptic Killers, there really are key pieces of evidence that when you study them, when you finally understand what the documents are telling you, or you spot the thing in the photo or the picture, things really will click into place in a way that is rare in these kinds of games, and when they do, it's quite a fun moment. And then I promised you a critical piece of advice, and here it is. With this kind of game, it's not clear whether you should sort of search through the documents, organize them first, or go through them in order. I think for the Cryptic Killers games, you should play through the documents in order. And most importantly, all of the Cryptic Killers games have an internet component. It's a little gimmicky. It's all phrased as, here's a webmail access that has extra information for your case, some extra police files, and you have to figure out the password to log into it. It may be tempting to go through the documents and try to figure out the password early and log into that website early in your playthrough. That would be a bad mistake, because frequently the internet component, the webmail, has big clues that resolve some of the mysteries that you should be working to solve before you get to the end. So my really one crucial piece of advice is play through the entire case, solve it as best you can, and then figure out the internet password to get onto the webmail, and then read those last components. Some of those will be critical to eliminating a suspect, but many of them will contain clues that help confirm the theories you will have developed. And if you read those too early, you will have that robbed from you. So there you have it. I'm a big fan of the series. I can't wait to see what they make next. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the series, where you think it compares with some of the other cold case games. Let me know, and I'll see you on the next video.